Well, good morning and greetings from Los Angeles, California, which, as you can see, has not all burned down, I'm happy to report. And if you're thinking it looks awfully green and bare of skyscrapers for a major city, that's because we're back in Griffith Park in Los Angeles. A very special, very specific part of Griffith Park. The little section carved out for the Los Angeles Live Steamers, which, if you've never heard of that, is basically an organization where these guys ride on their backyard-sized trains. And the Los Angeles Live Steamers is an organization, a club for these guys, where they have their own sort of little area here in Griffith Park where they can run the trains, and the third Sunday of the month even offer free train rides. But this area famously is not just home to the Los Angeles Live Steamers, it's also home to a famous part of Walt Disney's legacy, Walt Disney's Carolwood barn. This is actually Walt Disney's barn from his backyard in the Holmby Hills in Los Angeles. Walt Disney had his own little miniature steam trains he would ride around in the backyard, just like the Los Angeles Live Steamers do. I told the whole long story the last time we were out here at Griffith Park, so I won't repeat it in case you saw that already, but suffice to say, long story short, after Walt died and eventually his wife passed away, what better place to donate Walt Disney's backyard train barn to than the Los Angeles Live Steamers. So they have the Carolwood Pacific Society out here, which is sort of like a little Walt Disney historical society that upkeeps the barn or keeps it open to all these guests with volunteers. And they have the old Combine Car from Disneyland, and they keep on acquiring more and more pieces of Disney and Disneyland related railroad material. So here they have legendary Disney animator Ollie Johnson's little miniature railroad depot sitting out here for Disney nerds and train enthusiasts to visit. You can hear the telegraph tapping away in there, and look at that. There's Ollie Johnson's name, and a little piece of concrete. You can see where the railroad tracks used to be. Just little relics like this keep finding their way to Griffith Park and becoming part of the scenery out here. I've actually never walked to this sort of central portion between the Los Angeles Live Steamers, little trains, and Walt's barn. Look at this, they have a little miniature railroad set up out here on this elevated kind of table. There's little model trains running on it. Now, I've been out here many times before, but I haven't often filmed out here, and every once in a while people go, how come you haven't come down to the barn in a while? How come you haven't filmed in a while? I go, I don't know, and then I get here and I remember why. Not just that it's always busy with people who want to check out Walt Disney's personal backyard barn, his little happy place, his dreaming place. But I remember the tons of people I know come down to the barn. I think it's every third Sunday, and then I end up spending 90% of my time gabbing and talking to my friends, talking to people about different projects, and then I forget to film any of the barn. That's okay. I didn't come to film an exhaustive barn video this particular day. I came to chat over plans that we've already canceled and rearranged 3 times with my good friend Bob Gurr, legendary Disney Imagineer, who is right in the middle of his Waltland bus tour. That's right, Walt Disney's last living original Imagineer is the host of a Walt Disney themed bus tour around Los Angeles called Waltland, and he's sort of right in the middle of that. So they do a little stop here at the barn so people can get off the bus, check out Walt Disney's barn over here. Apparently that's not the reason the queue is so long today. The line is so long. I just found this out because it's Free Museum Day in LA, and so there's a bunch of other museums up in Griffith Park, like the Gene Autry Museum. So people are just out and about today in force in LA, and that has translated to one of the most busy, popular days at Walt Disney's barn ever. Awesome. Anyway, it's not just Bob and his manager. I came to see Joe Campana over here, and all of them together were working on a very secret project the last couple of years. It's a documentary about Bob Gurr, and by extension, the early days of Disneyland, and of course, Walt Disney and all that kind of stuff. And I am actually in the documentary. I teased this a few months ago, but it is almost here now. April 26th of 2025, just about a month away from now, will be the premiere of Bob Gurr's documentary, Bob Gurr, Living by Design. I'm going to be at the premiere. It's at the Alex Theater in Glendale. I think there are still tickets available, and actually, I just asked my friend Joe, who worked on the film, to send me the trailer so you can watch the trailer right now. And now, legendary Disney Imagineer, Bob Gurr.
I do so many things. You gotta remember, there's 250 basic jobs I did, and I never did anything over. How in the world would you tell somebody, what did you do?
I thought you were going to say, this is how I got started in aviation, here with the Wright brothers.
I am really fascinated with the idea of why do people do what they do? Why do they behave the way they do? Which part is their nature? What part was the nurture part or the absence of the nurture?
Dude, what a treat, and I'm guessing by my being in the trailer that I made the final cut. I might be in the documentary for sure. Anyway, we came up here to talk a little shop, do a little hang-in. I just thought I'd bring you guys with me, because why not? I have some other important errands to run today. It looks like we're not getting in the barn anytime soon. We're gonna have to wait our turn for a little while. But look at this, we can still get inside. Well, we can still get up next to the combination car. What's up, Caleb?
How you doing?
What is this car? Tell everyone what this car is.
This is a combination car because a combination of passenger and freight. Now, it wasn't a good investment for Walt Disney, according to the people who were investing in it. However, Walt Disney really loved the idea of a combination car. It was very nostalgic.
Why? Just because it's only half the seating at Disneyland kind of thing?
That's the kind of the financially poor idea part of it.
Right.
Walt Disney wanted the authenticity, and he wanted it to be nostalgic for him.
That's what I love about Walt Disney. Not everything had to make dollars and cents.
Exactly. Just because it doesn't make sense doesn't mean it doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Look at this. The combination car is, or combi car, as I've heard some people call it, is in the shed over here that is full of so much LA Railway history and how it ties in with Walt Disney and Disneyland. So they have all kinds of Santa Fe Railroad stuff over here. And you even have like the red car. Look at that, that's been coming up with us a lot lately. I drove one of the red cars here in Southern California at a museum, and also, of course, we just said goodbye to the DCA red cars running as an attraction. But there are so many relics here, so many little artifacts, so many little pieces of Disney history, and you got Ward Kimball stuff and Ollie Johnson stuff. They were also very into trains. Pictures of Walt and Roy standing on the front of a steam engine in Marceline, Missouri. I think that's the same steam engine that's still in Marceline, Missouri to this day. Vintage Disneyland souvenirs and railroad tickets. A reproduction of the original site plan for Disneyland. Look at that. That is amazing. And having grown up literally right here, well, actually my house was right about there, and my grandma's house was there, and another grandma's house was here. That means a lot to me seeing that. Look at that's amazing. You can see the tall eucalyptus trees there on the property. That would end up being Disneyland, and then the parking lot. This is crazy. Literal physical pieces of the Disneyland Railroad are here. All kinds of paraphernalia, all kinds of ephemera. Look at this old Disneyland Railroad switch light, straight out of Disneyland. The Ernest S. Marsh toolbox. Boy, it's a hard name to say quickly. It's got a tongue twister for a name. This is one of my favorite things. Look at, they got a CK Holiday live steam engine over here. But then they also have lights from the Viewliner station. And the Viewliner was this little futuristic miniature train built by none other than Bob Gurr for Disneyland. It was a temporary train going in before they added the monorail, of which that is a piece of the 1959 monorail. Bob Gurr's original monorail, he designed that as well. That's why if you don't know who Bob Gurr is, if you're completely unfamiliar with what I've been talking about this whole time, I highly, highly recommend that documentary, Bob Gurr, Living by Design. First, it's going to be in theaters and do some screenings, including the premiere is the only one that's been announced so far that I know of. Actually, while we have Bob here, we should avail ourselves of the opportunity to talk to his manager and find out where you can get info on the whole thing. Okay, Ernie, so if people can't come to the premiere, which is at the Alex Theater, which is at thealex.com or something, where can they go to just keep an eye on in case there's any future screenings or information?
So we'll definitely be doing future screenings, so if you go to fandomproductions.com,
fandomproductions.com,
right on the website, on the homepage, we'll have a listing of different theaters it's going to be playing at. And,
that's coming soon. It's not there now, but it will be. Keep an eye.
Yeah, and then for those of you on the East Coast, we're going to be doing an East Coast premiere in Orlando. Let me see.
Is this like breaking news? I haven't even heard this yet.
Oh yeah.
When?
Yes. Let me see. April. Probably the end of May.
Oh, looks like I gotta buy a ticket to Orlando. I'm excited. Okay. And then you, Bob Gurr Official on Instagram.
Yes.
You follow Bob, and I'm sure there'll be
we'll
posts
post
about
it
it.
there as well.
Awesome. Oh, it's Bob.
Oh,
Bob, I think your bus is about to leave again.
I just saw it. Yeah.
You better
I don't need to miss the bus.
I cannot wait for the movie premiere.
Yeah,
We're gonna walk the red carpet.
I've never seen the movie. It'll be a chance to see
Wait,
it.
you haven't seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
Well, take it from me, because I have seen it. It's really good. It makes you look good. I don't look great in it. I wish I had been a little thinner. When
no spoilers.
No spoilers, okay. Well,
Yeah.
in the movie, we end up going to Antarctica. We're fighting penguins. It's great. I really like the script.
Then it's a real documentary.
It's a real documentary.
Oh, okay. 'Cause, yeah, but I hope they didn't go to all the places I go that I don't talk about.
Well, the CGI is amazing in it. All the stunts that we did, it's fantastic.
Okay.
So you guys are going to love it. You're going to love it.
Why do you think it's called a premiere movie?
Why?
It's a premiere because I've never seen it.
Oh, you're staying spoiler free. Okay.
Yes, all right.
All right, back to work, Bob. Love you. See you later. Off he goes into the wild, into a bus, actually. Look at this. Some of the live steamers members next door brought their old cars out today. Look at that Cadillac. Woo! Look at the rear end on that gal. Look at those tail fins. That is so freaking cool. All right, well, Bob Gurr has gone. I have talked shop with many of my friends out here at Walt's Barn out here in Griffith Park of a third Sunday of the month. I've gone back and forth with the Carolwood people for about 10 years on like getting here on a special day when we could just film the barn with no people. It never happened, so might as well come on the public Sundays. It's absolutely free to enter. The train ride next door, riding on the back of those little trains you saw, used to be free and have a suggested donation. Now I feel like the suggested donation is somewhat enforced. But you know, for a couple bucks, you can come out and ride the train, come see Walt Disney's barn for free. Always a nice stop if it's the third Sunday of the month. I have dyscalculia. It's like almost like dyslexia for numbers, where I'm not good with numbers. And third, you would think something as simple as the third Sunday of the month I can't do unless I'm physically looking at a calendar and checking. Or, in this case, if somebody just tells me the night before, hey, it's a barn day tomorrow. Great! Oh, and just in case you were wondering about my friend Maynard, he lives! Maynard.
Yeah, I live. I dance too, but you can't see my feet, so ha ha! Hey, wait a
we
minute.
saw him!
You cheated me! I want the royalties on that one. All these dance companies say, what about that guy's feet? They're so big. It's like they have like skis, that guy. He doesn't have to buy skis or rent skis when he goes down the mountain. He goes, but you can feel jealous of me if you want to.
I do.
Whopper! See?
I got some big ones too. Look at that. We can go skiing together.
Not so much jealousy then, huh?
No, not so much jealousy. It's excitement because now we can go skiing on an adventure together.
Yeah.
Which is where you've been all this time, right?
Yeah.
People go to Disneyland, they're looking for Maynard, they don't find him because
you didn't look at the big mountain that's up there, and
he was skiing right down the Matterhorn.
I'm waiting for everybody to leave so that I can go yodeling like everybody would want to.
Wait, I want to hear you yodel now.
Yodeling-dee-hoo.
Okay, rather than just leaving, my friend Caleb over here is going to give us a little exclusive tour inside of Walt Disney's Combine Car, which, by the way, was sort of the Lily Bell of its day, was it not? It was sort of the, VIP car.
Oh, no, this was not a VIP car.
I've just always heard that when Walt brought guests, he always brought them and rode on the Combine Car.
You know what? I haven't heard that. I'll need to look into that, but that makes sense.
Well, we could just spread that rumor. Let's just say it's true.
Let's spread a rumor. but like, take a seat in one of these seats.
Okay, I'm going to take a seat, sit right down on... Ooh, look at this beautiful... What is that called?
What is
Pleather?
it? Linoleum? Pleather?
I know it has its own name. That old
bus seats.
School bus seat stuff.
Well, like these are genuine 1950s bus seats. Now, I don't know if they were used before or if they were new bus seats in the 50s, but they were originally meant for buses. The windows were bus windows.
Really?
You know, Walt Disney, when he had this thing built, like the whole train, it wasn't paid for with the Disneyland budget. Walt Disney paid for this out of his own pocket.
Right.
So, you know, he spared no expense, but he did spare some expense. like this is not actual inlay. This is stenciled, but man, does it look good.
The wood right here, this stuff you're talking
it's
about.
all original. It has not been restored. That's 100%.
Oh, really? The ceiling right... This is all original?
All original.
Wow.
If it feels off, I'm gonna sue.
Yeah. I better not scrape it.
But yeah, like, it ran from 1955 opening day. Like, you can see this train car on the opening day broadcast until like the 1970s.
And then where was it after that?
It was in the Roundhouse, and then it was sold off to a private collector. And I just heard the story from Art over here. I completely forgot about this part. Is the reason this and the whole set were sold to a collector was because the guy who it was traded with had a spare 5/8 scale locomotive, just a spare, train, and that. It's either number 4 or the number 5. I think it's the number 5, the Ward Kimball train at Disneyland. Now.
Really?
He traded for it.
So he traded what became possibly the Ward Kimball for this.
For this and the other cars. I think it was the other cars. I can't remember. Don't quote me on that. But at least this one. I think it then went to another collector, and then it was given to us.
Wow. So it was donated to you
It was
guys.
donated, and then we restored it. And I wasn't here for this part, but I'm pretty sure this part opened on display in 2009. Now, I'm going to share with you my favorite best-kept secret at Disneyland.
Okay.
Because it fits the historical context. So, everyone knows about Lily Bell, but not everyone knows about the caboose at Disneyland. Now, be careful with this knowledge, because I don't want this to
Yeah, we
get
don't want
out.
this to get out there.
But I love the caboose, because it's as close as you can get to getting this experience. So follow me here.
Okay.
If you want to see what the caboose is like at Disneyland, it's much like this.
Which they don't let guests into anymore, unfortunately.
Well, they let people in, depending on the day.
Yeah.
You ask a cast member if you want to go in there. It's those cushioned seats. It's the same windows are used in the caboose. It's the same color green and the exact lights.
Because the caboose is still original, right?
Oh
They
yeah,
just left it alone.
100%. Exactly.
So this is the freight side. So what would be in here while guests were on the car? They wouldn't have been allowed to stand in here.
It's either this trunk or that trunk that's original, and that would hold the sound system.
Oh, really?
Really, and these right here that say Dynamite,
Yeah.
those are also original. So you could sit on those. You could sit on little benches that are here.
Really? So these benches you kind of can't really see under these frames. There's little built-in benches. So guests could ride up in the freight side?
Absolutely,
I did not
100%.
ever know that.
I don't know how calm that was later on, but in the very beginning, absolutely.
It was chaos in the beginning. So you could just ride on a dynamite barrel up here, and one of these trunks you say is original.
Oh yeah.
That is amazing. That is so cool. Okay, out the back of the Combine car, Caleb just told me something very interesting. This door on the shed, this big door, is from the original Backstage Disneyland roundhouse. And so is this big funnel thing. This was to park the steam engines underneath and then vent, all the steam out of the roof of the original Disneyland roundhouse, which was sort of backstage, kind of behind Rivers of America. You would have never really seen it unless you were on a backstage tour or a cast member. And they didn't end up using that roundhouse for a long time because they built a purpose-built one that
They built a new
cohabitates
one
with the
in
monorail.
Exactly, 1959. So it was
59.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I never knew it was used for that short, but I always used to have that building point. I think it was like a paint shop after that and various things. But that is so cool. They ripped it out to build Galaxy's Edge,
For
Caleb.
Galaxy's Edge, right? And they gave it to us. We have a nice new door. Well, new door for us, old door. Like it's
Too bad you couldn't get the whole building.
What was that?
I said, too bad you couldn't get the whole building.
Well, we got more of the building than you think.
Really? So there's more pieces somewhere.
We don't know what else to do with the rest.
I'll take him. I'll take him. Don't worry, everybody.
Got space.
This is so cool. And the music was sort of perfectly timed, right? We walk in.
It's majestic. It's powerful.
Wow.
This slides this way and this will slide out.
So we have big rolling doors.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
Now, if you look at the old pictures of, what was it? The freight car, the CK Holiday.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't have seats originally.
Right,
Like,
you just stood in
had
there.
to stand up. So, I don't have any evidence for this as of yet. But maybe you had to stand up in here when the train was going, because that would be consistent with.
I would
what's
love
up
to
here.
know that. If any of you out here rode on this car when it was at Disneyland, here's a question for you. Could you stand up in it? Could you stand up in... I bet you could.
In the very 50s, like, had to be.
The laws
It's a very
must have been
short-lived thing.
different.
If anyone is above the age of 90, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. We want to know anyways.
Oh, yeah,
Just want to congratulate you. Wow. Oh, there we go. There's the outside of that door we were talking about inside. Caleb was like, hey, don't you want to get a shot of it from the outside? I said, oh, yeah, good idea, Caleb. You're a smart man. He said, tell that to the women. So all you women out there, just so you know, it's a smart and handsome fella right here. Single and ready to mingle.
Thanks, Justice.
It's magical, you guys. So many little pieces of Disneyland history. Just a few minutes ago, they did the flag retreat over here with these retired Marines who used to do it at Disneyland. Apparently, Disneyland let them go. But much like the barn, they've got a home here in Griffith Park. It's so cool. What a magical place. Didn't end up going inside the barn today. We did that last time, so it's all right. There was still quite a long line over here of people for free museum day, but what a special place. What a cool place for train enthusiasts, obviously, but also for Walt Disney enthusiasts to get together. And everybody here, that's sort of like the common denominator. they seem to all really love Walt Disney, the man, not the character, not the myth, not the legend. They all love that too, but it's kind of a collection of people that get together out here every third Sunday of the month. Just talk Walt, talk Disney, you know, talk trains, and you can't hate that. Anyway, now I'm out of here because I got to do a favor for a friend. Well, really, I'm doing a favor for a friend of a friend. So I've got to go from here, Griffith Park, all the way out. Where the heck are my keys? There they. Oh, dude, that was a little. You ever get that where you're like, what did I do? Okay, never mind. Anyway, I meant to be doing a favor for a friend of mine who is not in the country. I need to go all the way to Santa Monica from here, which is probably, I don't know, 13 miles or something, but it's probably going to take me an hour and a half just to do an errand for. Oh wait, hey, there went the Bob Gurr tour bus. Waltland. Check it out. I think it's waltland.com or something like that, or fandomproductions.com. One of the two. You can see Bob Gurr's Waltland tours. Anyway, it's one of those things where I've had the favor done for me 15,000 times by a friend, so I owe him one. And boy, this is one. All the way through LA traffic. But even though we're done with Walt's barn right now, don't go away, because I want to show you something rad at my house. So at the end of this, I will show you something amazing. Dude, I always forget that the Walt Disney Studio is basically just an exit up. You know Walt's ghost is definitely around here somewhere, if it's anywhere. Universal Studios, just across the freeway and up the hill. I actually recorded my albums in my band, The Scarred, right here, right off this exit, right off Lancashire. People are always justifiably criticizing me, like, why don't you film some more stuff in LA? I think it's just that, you know, when I was a teenager, running around, driving all over here, in a band, driving all around, I always had to be in LA, and so I just got burned out. It's hard for me to get a sense of what other people think is interesting in LA, you know, versus what I'm just used to. But people have a fair point. I should spend more time over here. It's right in my backyard. Most of the time it's just the traffic, I'm gonna be honest. I have no problem driving for 3 hours if you're like driving down a highway. I hate driving in traffic even for 45 minutes. I don't know what it is. I can't be the only one. Come on. I'm just about to get on the 405. Sorry, my window's so dirty there. Every time I get on the 405 freeway, I think of a Carrot Top joke. So I saw Carrot Top at the Orange County Fair years and years and years and years ago. And he goes, yeah, I took the 405 all the way down here to Orange County. You know what the 405 means, right? 405? They named it that because 4 out of 5 times, you're not going anywhere. It's a little Carrot Top traffic humor for you. A little Carrot Top traffic humor. I mean, he's not wrong. Carrot Top was not wrong. Didn't have that on today's bingo card, but there it is. Carrot Top was correct. All right, well, I cannot tell you what I'm doing out here because it's somebody else's errand, not my business to tell you. But I made a pickup for one friend of mine, and I'm dropping something off to another friend of mine in Kansas City, of all places. Should be really at the end of this week or beginning of next week. I have some big news, actually, I want to tell you guys, but you know what? I'm freaking starving. That took forever. Apparently today was the Los Angeles Marathon, and they've just opened up some streets. That's what somebody just told me. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I didn't see it with my own eyes. 45 minutes to go the last mile. That's what I'm saying. Some fancy neighborhoods around here. The rich, the famous, the successful. They all live out here in Brentwood and West LA. Why? Maybe when you're on like a certain level, the Illuminati chooses your neighborhood for you. I don't know. But I feel like if I won the lottery, I wouldn't move to a bigger area, a more crowded area. If I won the lottery, I'd probably stay right where I was in Orange County. I'd just fulfill my ultimate dream to never pay rent again. Oh. Hey, I can fantasize, can't I? Anyway, like I said, I'm starving, and since I'm in the neighborhood anyways, or as close to being in the neighborhood as I'm ever gonna get, I'm gonna hook a right on Old 66 up here, Old Route 66, Santa Monica Boulevard, and cruise down to the Promenade. Get myself some lunch. One of the few places I can actually eat. Crazy, nobody ever films this part of Route 66. There's a reason. It's hard to park here most days. I guess I figured out the secret, right? Come on a Sunday. Come on a Sunday, the day of the Los Angeles Marathon. Plenty of parking out here today. Oh, I can already see it. I can already see my final destination. Just gotta get down here by the ocean and hit the parking garage. All right, finally got a parking spot up in this parking garage over here. About to head down to the Promenade, where of course we showed you those Pee Wee Herman, Pee-wee's Big Adventure filming locations a couple weeks ago. And if you remember that video, you'll remember that this place, BB Bop, where I'm going to eat, is all gluten-free. It's one of the only places I can eat at in Southern California with no fear. And it's like, well, at least an hour away from my house. Isn't that a bummer? Anyway, nobody cares about that. Unless you happen to have celiac disease like me. By the way, that's where Mario's Magic Shop was from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, right there. I always want to just say from Pee Wee Herman. That's not right. Right here was the Woolworths store, right in this building where Johnny Rockets is. That's why I always choose parking garage number 4, because then I have an excuse to walk through the land of Pee Wee. This is where Chuck's Bike-O-Rama was, right there where the Sunglass Hut is. Chuck's Bike-O-Rama. What was I supposed to be talking about? Oh yes, big announcement. Next weekend, I'm going to be in Kansas City for Planet Comic Con. I'm not as a guest, not as a vendor, basically just to be roaming around, just like a normal guest or whatever. I'm supposed to get there on the second day. I'll definitely be there the third day of that. But like I said, that's just me running around. If you happen to be there, say hello to me, look for the hat. Second announcement. The bigger announcement is for all of my Las Vegas area friends, all my Nevada friends. I am finally doing a little meet and greet signing and bringing some tikis out to sell, which I'll show you in a couple of minutes for you when we get home, at Tom Devlin's Monster Museum on April 5th. So I've posted about this on Instagram, I posted about it on Facebook. April 5th, Tom Devlin's Monster Museum, Boulder City, Nevada. Look at this. This is what I dream of seeing on every restaurant. 100% gluten-free. I'm gonna get some food. Have even more rad stuff to tell you about and show you once I get home. But first some grub. Before I have to deal with all the traffic back to Orange County. It's funny the things you take for granted. Like you would never even think, oh, it's awesome to be able to eat out somewhere, you know, until you can't do it. Then you realize, you know, it's like Joni Mitchell said, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. It's awesome being able to come down here and just grab a bite. I'm so stoked this place exists. I just wish there were more of them in California. BB Bob. There's plenty of cons to coming to this part of LA, but I gotta say, one of the pros of coming down to the Promenade, you always see something you've never seen before. Like, what is that lady doing? Karaoke? She's singing her original? Who knows? Oh, they changed the Santa Methica is not safe sign. Now they got the Hamburglar on here or something. I don't live here. I don't. Got people out here sing on street, something for YouTube. Got the little delivery robots over here chilling. Our little R2-D2s. That guy's keeping a close eye on his bike, which is a good idea. A lot of bike thefts in the area. Just ask Pee-wee. Anyway, the ocean is just like, I don't know, a block away. Just on the other side of those buildings. I'd love to take you down there. I'd love to go to the Santa Monica Pier with you, but this was a drive for an hour just to have a little bit of conversation, and then a drive for an hour to do that pickup, and then a drive for an hour to come get a bite to eat, and then probably drive 2 hours to get back home, depending on traffic. Could only be 50 minutes or so, but at least an hour to get back home. So I think I'm gonna cut it short here in Santa Monica and just meet you guys there, because trust me, it's hardly been the Autobahn driving out here today, especially in the old Mustang. This bad boy, or bad girl, needs a lot of work. She's just getting to that age where all the rubber needs to be replaced. Like, look at this, all the trim is off the door and stuff fell off on that side too. Everything's a little crusty. All the rubber needs to be replaced. Capless fuel systems, throwing all kinds of engine codes and weird stuff going on. I don't know. All the friends I have in this world and across the world, across the country, I don't have a mechanic friend who lives close by. Wish I just had one mechanic friend with a shop, you know, one trustworthy shop. That's fine, I can live with the little glowing light, it won't kill me. Anyway, I'll meet you guys at home. I'll show you what I got for this Las Vegas meetup in terms of tikis. And I'll show you something else that's awesome. All right, I'll meet you in my garage. Last one there's a rotten egg. Oh, I think I won. Oh, you're already here? Dang it, I guess I'm a rotten egg. The R stands for rotten egg today. Well, everything in my entire backyard and garage is a complete disaster. We had all those crazy high winds, you know, that caused the fires in Southern California. So everything got shoved here at the last second while I was traveling around. And I've never quite recovered from that situation. Big old mess in here. However, despite the mess and shaving off only a little corner of the workbench to work with, I have managed to put together a few tiki masks to be able to sell in Las Vegas when I do the signing at Tom Devlin's Monster Museum. See, we got a couple of fine tiki masks here, and they're just gonna keep on coming and coming, as you can see, or as I at least hope you're able to tell. I went for sort of an aged look on these ones. We had a batch of wood that was one of the hardest batches of wood I have ever had to work with, but we made it happen. Look at this little tiki guy right here. You got your Adventureland gate mask. Look at the size of them. Then I decided to do another run of replica Adventureland gate masks from the 1950s right here. That's what these are. You can see a famous picture of Walt Disney looking up at this one, and this one's in the background. But instead of sort of the squeaky clean, brand new approach, went for like a very aged and kind of dirty approach. Like, what if those had been taken down from Adventureland and had been sitting, you know, in someone's tiki backyard for 50 years? Or what if they were abandoned on a tropical island, that kind of thing. So there you go. There's a little stack of hours and hours and hours of my life, all represented in a chair full of tiki masks. And then behind this, here's a little follow-up from our adventure the other day. Those are original Randotti molds, and they are mostly the Adventureland souvenirs, minus the skulls. One or two pieces ended up being sort of gummy and unusual, but otherwise I have got almost every Tiki-related mold Randotti ever did right here in these tubs. Oh, and they're not just sitting there like artifacts. Because inside, I have messed up the kitchen entirely. And poor Allie has had to put up with me doing science experiments in here, pouring plaster into these molds. Just plaster of Paris, very brittle. Because the portion of the Randotti molds that I was able to purchase out in the desert, the rest are going to auction. Kind of all look like this, right? Like, how do you know what pieces are in what mold? Well, as you can see, I have been busy with plaster of Paris, figuring that exact question out. So check this out. For all we know, this is the first time a Tiki has been pulled out of this mold right here in more than 30 years. Got that one right there. And then look at these two classic Randotti Tikis. Yes, these would have been sold in Adventureland. Amazing. Some of the famous Randotti wall plaque molds are in there. This is the mold I was just showing you in the garage a second ago. Now, some of them I've had a little more trouble with than others. So you can see this elephant right here. Kind of broken up. But that is an old school original Disneyland Jungle Cruise souvenir made by Randotti. I mean, look, that's amazing. Anyway, some of these I've realized I'm probably going to need a little bit of help with. Some of the molds are a little more complicated, like the elephant and stuff like that. Most of them are pretty darn straightforward. And it's crazy, right? Because I told the guy, who still wants to be anonymous, by the way, that no, I don't want anything, keep everything together, put it all in the auction. He kind of insisted, like, as a finder's fee, no, I want to sell you something. I called back Corey from, well, he's worked for everyone, Heritage, Van Eaton, all these different auction houses, and we kind of made what's the fair price. So I didn't get the more recognizable Disneyland pieces. I'll be bidding on those along with you guys in the auctions when they come. But I do have 60-something Tiki molds. And basically, for most of the last week, I've been supposed to go to Disneyland with Bob Gurr, of all people. That's what we were meeting up to talk about. And we kept canceling it because of the weather or pushing it back. And so I'd go, all right, it's raining, and I've just been pouring plaster into these molds. And I cannot believe that these, in some cases, 60-year-old molds, they're still working just fine. I mean, I'm not an expert, and that may not be the case forever, right? They may wear out eventually with time. But so far, this weird science project has gone surprisingly well. I gotta get rid of this van. Anyway, they are absolutely filthy. It's taken a lot of work just to get them clean enough, even to do experiments on with plaster, so there's a lot of work to do. I've only messed with the barest handful of the molds. There's a lot of stuff in there, so this will be an ongoing experiment and project to see how usable they are, and see if I'll be able to bring some little pieces once I figure out that secret formula to the tables whenever I do Tiki marketplaces and stuff. And I know, I'm sorry, people have been asking me when I'm going to do more Tikis for, I don't know, it's been about a year since I've done a Tiki marketplace, almost, getting pretty close. And it looks like I'm not going to do one anytime soon, but I am doing that meetup in Boulder City, Nevada, Tom Devlin's Monster Museum, like a little meet and greet signing thing. I don't know. They're running it, so you'll have to check social media for all the details. I don't know any of the details. I just sort of agreed to show up and just kind of go with the flow on this one. Here's the thing. I have been being invited to do stuff like this for the past 10 out of 12 years. I've been doing Random Land and stuff like that. And I always felt kind of uncomfortable. Like, it just felt out of my comfort zone. I've done a few free things, like Midsummer Scream and different stuff that we charged nothing, we made nothing, and I turned down a lot of invitations because sometimes they'd be like, well, we're charging this, or we're doing this, and I'd be like, I don't know how comfortable I am with that. So the Boulder City thing is a major experiment for me. People have been on my case for a long time, like, will you come to this event, will you come to that event, and I'm just sort of like, every single one has different ways of working things out, different ways that they sort of pay for your travel, or to put you up in hotels and different stuff, whether that's making you charge for pictures or autographs, which I really don't want to do. I want to find an alternative way to do it, or charging an entrance fee, or just, having like certain stuff for sale, like, oh, well, if you come in the line, you got to buy a book or this or that or the other thing. And I've really just avoided it this entire time. But it's dawned on me that that's meant that there's a lot of you that I haven't met or even given you an opportunity, because the only kind of weird, off the grid type of meetups and events that I'm able to do are in Southern California, the ones that I've been able to control. And then that only gives people in Southern California the opportunity to even come out. And so I've been thinking a lot about whether I'd like to go to like conventions and stuff like that I've had opportunities and invitations to in the past and have always turned down. So the Tom Devlin thing, which I've been kind of promising them on and off that I would do for several years, I finally decided to knuckle down and do it because it's sort of a test case. So come out and say hello, make me feel less awkward being out there by myself. And if it goes well, if everything goes according to plan and everybody has good vibes about it, then I'll consider doing more around the country at different stuff, Florida, and mostly like a lot of the weirder places that I don't normally get a chance to spend enough time to stop at and like do like a meetup or anything like that. So we'll see how it goes. One step at a time. I'm trying to be open-minded. I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone a little bit. Yeah. So I'm bringing a box of first edition copies of my book. Bringing some 1956 Disneyland Tiki Mask replicas, kind of aged and weather-worn versions. And a pile of my original design Tiki Masks there. And we'll see if I can at least put on the table some examples of crazy history remakes. Like you can see that mold right there, all gummed up and funky. The petroleum's breaking down. Some of the other ones, though, are in such good shape. It's absolutely incredible. And these ones are even older than some of the ones they used in the 70s and stuff, because they use a different type of material, like a different type of urethane, that aged worse and cracked and fell apart much more easily. So the older ones have actually stood the test of time better than some of the more recent Randotti molds, which is just nuts. Now, if you have no idea what Randotti is and you have no idea what I'm talking about, just go back one episode, because it was the most crazy Disneyland-related treasure haul, one of the most crazy treasure hauls I've ever heard of in my life. This guy found rotting in some sheds out in the desert, basically the original Adventureland and Disneyland souvenirs. The most incredible thing ever. Not just dead stock, but the original molds that created them. Absolutely fascinating. It's an ongoing story. They are coming to auction. They are coming to market. And don't worry, I will let you know when it happens. Now, having said all that, guys, I think I've done my duty. Like I said, I'm going to be at Planet Comic Con, Kansas City. I'll just be walking around. I'll definitely be there on this Sunday. Don't know about the Saturday, but I'm going to try to be there for that too. It's right in between London's 18th birthday and my birthday, so it's going to be a very crazy, busy time. But there's some stuff that I have to do there, a secret mission. That's the reason I'm going to Kansas City. I'm not going just to hang out. Now I've picked up something to drop off to somebody. That wasn't the secret mission. I'll tell you more about it when we actually do it at the end of this week. For now, though, guys, I've done my duty, and I can finally go in the house right here, go home to Orange County, where I was born and raised, and sleep. Wow. See you next time. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to mention one very important thing. Pin drop. I completely forgot about this. For 5 years, we did not make any new Random Land pins. We were making Random Land pins left, right, and center. We were coming out with them like a couple times a year for like 5 or 6 years. And then the pandemic hit right when we launched our online merch store, where we had made a couple pins, the last ones we ever made, where we had ordered several hundred of them. Like, we had ordered way more than we ever did before, so that we'd have some that would just kind of never run out. We still have some of those, in fact. So for 5 years, I just sort of forgot about making the new sort of more limited crazy pins that everybody was like enjoying collecting. We're all kind of having fun making these little rare thing, you know, that would just be in our kind of little circle. And finally, a new one has come. It is in the house. I am putting it up online very soon, so keep your eyes on my Instagram, at Justin Scard, 2 R's, and Facebook. Check out the Sometimes Mob Facebook group, all that kind of stuff. There's links to all this stuff at randomland.com. Just go to randomland.com, all the links are there. Keep an eye on the social media, because this is going to drop within probably within 24 hours of this video going up. Probably about 24 hours later, it'll be pin time. So keep your eyes open, go home, or sleep well. Freak me out. Driverless cars. Driverless car. That's another one, a robot car right there. That is a robot car. There's no driver in that car. Segregated and under heavy influence of the Ku Klux Klan. Oh, he has turn signal on. Didn't turn. It. Kind of like a very similar. It is a pattern. It is. I knew it. You guessed it correctly. I can't believe I did that. I am not an old car guy. Like, I am not wise. I am not manly. I did it.
And this is Jethro Conductor speaking from my YouTube channel, Jethro Conductor.
Oh, it's Bob.
Oh,